before. Thank you for sticking around, and trust me, like I told you earlier today, we have two politically charged topics we're going to be looking at. The political campaigns will be starting in less than 2 weeks, and a lot of Nigerians are waiting patiently to engage politicians to see what the politicians have to say. Is it going to be the usual dancing, charades, musical bands at campaigns? Is that all that we're going to be seeing this time around? Or are we actually going to see our presidential candidates, our governorship candidates, and even those vying for state assembly, national assembly members, are we going to see them talking on issues? This is a sort of campaign, or rather, that will be the sort of campaign I understand most Nigerians are looking at. Or will it also be a campaign where bags of rice will be shared, wrappers will be shared? I don't know what Atinuke will be looking forward to, if she would want to collect wrapper or collect seasoning, rice, or collect rice, and all of that. So today, at this point, we're going to be talking about Road to 2023, imperatives of issue-based campaigns. And our guest today, a politician and a political analyst, majorly, is Wale Badmus. Wale Badmus, thank you for joining us on the program this morning. Good morning. I'm going to allow my colleague take the first shot.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you permit me to call you Wale B.
Oh, you make me remember my school days.
All right, okay. So the campaign season is getting closer.
Right.
And there have been several calls about how issue-based it's going to be. We're expecting it to get dirty. A lot of dirty linen will be washed in public. Yes. But at the same time, we're not even expecting pettiness, and there will be a lot of dig-ups. There'll be a lot of vote buying. There'll be a lot of things. How issue-based do you think this campaign should be?
Thank you, Tinuke. First and foremost, I must tell you that we should not overlook undermine the fact that we are in a developing economy where poverty is endemic. True. And where you cannot really say that you can be rest assured that issue-based politics, issue-based campaign, which ordinarily should be at the front burner, but because of the relative backwardness of the society, you find out that the campaign slogan that have been used even over 40 years ago. I could remember when I was growing up in 1979, to be precise, election. I could remember the campaign slogan then was, I'll give you food, I'll give you road, I'll give you pipe-borne water, I'll give you electricity. Now, over 40 years after, can you really say that all these goals have been achieved? Even with the coming of military and with this Millennium Development Goal, which is basic requisites for woman living, how far have Nigeria really achieved it? Now, on the trust of this, you believe that ordinarily, as we are approaching 2023 elections, the campaign should be issue-based. But unfortunately, what we are witnessing from the various camps, is more or less more of tantrums, mudsludging, and mundane issues, rather than the critical burning issues that should be brought into the front burner. You will see a situation where people will be raising issues of head they shake, hand they shake, blah way no well, as if they are going for a WWE wrestling context, or they are going for world heavyweight boxing context. In the same way, you will see people saying that they are not based in Nigeria, they are based in Dubai, they are based in America, they are based. You get something. You will see people making promissory notes, from the heaven, moonlight, taste by moonlight, that they will do this, they will do that. For crying out loud, Nigerians are, Nigeria is beyond that threshold now. What we want to hear are basic is how do you confront the basic necessity confronting Nigeria, the issue of insecurity, the issue of infrastructural decay, the issue of economy. How do you make that the hyper-galloping inflation is arrested? How do you make sure that the hyper-galloping inflation is arrested? Then there is food on the table of an average Nigeria. That is what Nigerians want to hear. How to make sure that the menace of insecurity, mostly tormenting the northwest, northeast, even the southern parts, it has delved into southern part now. Every day you hear of kidnapping. It has advanced from the north West region, which used to be Boko Haram now, that one has been, you know, regressed to some minimum level. At least you can say that Borno State is cleared of Boko Haram now. But the thing has spread into banditry and some other issue. So we are expecting a president that is coming. They should give us a blueprint. Unfortunately, none of the major contenders have come out with their manifesto. We are waiting it. We see how they want to contend with insurgency, how they want to contend with the fast falling rates of Naira. You know, in the international market.
Wale, you mentioned something which in passing, which I don't want us to ignore. If you look at, for instance, you want to draw an example from what we've seen more advanced democracies do, a lot of attention is even paid to the personal life of people who come out to vie for presidency. You look at the issue of Biden. Just a couple of months ago, the issue of his son's laptop came up. Now, if that issue probably had come up before the elections, that would have actually affected his chances of emerging as president. Now, you can see there's been so much talk even about his health, you know, and all of that. Do you think that, honestly, when Nigerians express concern over the health of, you know, candidates, a candidate or any political candidate, is it a wrong thing to consider?
I would not say that is really wrong, but that is in a situation where you have sanity, where the political climate have been balanced, where you have transcended the mundane, the required standard. The American democracy you are talking about, they are no longer talking about food, they are not talking about water, they are not talking about electricity. They are even talking more now about social security, how to, you know, redistribute income redistribution. That is what they are talking in America now. They are not faced. If you go to American podium and tell them about food, all these things, they will stone you. So because they have gone beyond that level, they have the luxury, they have the leeway to take into some other personal issue. But then you will not ask to what extent that personal issue really reflects on the voters result, the vote return in America. You go back to the issue of Trump. When Trump was contesting against Hillary Clinton that time, there were baggages of, you know, issues, you know, delving on his personality. Are you getting my point? You know, talking about all his past atrocities. They are up and down. But the average American then that time, they want to take their country back. That was their campaign slogan. They want to take their country back from, you know, America for America. That is their primary concern at that time. So they overlook the primary issue of what's it called, Donald Trump or what have you. Then coming back home on the issue of health or no health, back this or do. Look, every candidate have his own issue or challenges. There are some people that okay, you say you are talking of health. Is it a boxing context? Is it a resume that, for crying out loud? I could remember before Buhari became president, people were raising this issue of health. Unfortunately, quite unfortunately, life is not in the hand of man. It's not in the hand of man. People who are even expecting Buhari to leave before 2023 are people that left before him. We are not jubilating over that. It's death. What we are saying is that once the mental capability, ability to identify talent, ability to identify goals, ability to provide solution to issues, once that ones are there, there is the issue of all this character assassination are placed into the second border. For crying out, no presidential aspirant is being willed to campaign. For crying out, no presidential aspirant cannot stand to give speech. For crying out loud, no presidential aspirant cannot, you know, do meetings of his party. But that is, by the way, you usually have some people that, okay, they talk like one presidential aspirant have jetted out yesterday now. Okay. They claim that is a business trip, for family trip.
Okay, well, so we'll move away from physical attributes now, and then we delve into religion. A lot of people have believed that people use political candidates use religion as a yardstick, you know, to get to their people. You know, we've seen aspirants go to churches or go to mosque, you know, to, you know, align themselves with them to buy campaign. What is your take on that? Do you think that is just a bit too, you know? Bearing
in mind that even INEC had even stated that, look, campaign should be taken out of places of worship.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, on that, I would just say that it's still a reflection of the backwardness of our campaign. You know, in the absence of issues, you will face tissue. In the absence of substance, you will face shadows. So let's call a spade instead of saying it's an agricultural equipment. We are still not there yet. You will see a situation where somebody wants to get votes. You will first consider which tribe am I from, what is the voting capacity of my tribe. Okay, if this is it, let me get somebody from this region. You get somebody who will now say that, okay, for religious consideration, I'm perhaps the only Muslim, let me be visiting all the mosques. Or I'm perhaps the only Christian in the race. You are a Catholic by birth, by faith and everything, and you now started visiting Pentecostal. Even though you might not say vote for me there, everybody knows the reason why you go there. Are you getting my point? So, if looking at it from that perspective, you will find out that most politicians are using what they have to get what they want, which is wrong. It should not be what you have to get what you want. It should be what the people want based on your past record and based on your profile solution. That should be the yardstick for people to determine you. But see people say that it's our turn. We have not had it for since independence. Nobody have been voted from my region since independence. Nobody have been voted from my region since independence. If you don't want us to exit Nigeria, you have to give it to us. As if power is serve a la carte.
But it's a democracy. People should have a sense of belonging in every society they belong in and belong to. So there's absolutely wrong with that, isn't
There's nothing wrong with it, but you have to reach out to other regions. You cannot do it alone. It's a bridge building process. It's not automatic.
Oh, by the way, sir, can you just drop your paper? It seems as if you want to just
get
up and leave the studio.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
It's a consensus building process. You have to reach out. Politics is about concessions. It's about collaboration of various interests. It's not something that you just say that you want to do it. Okay, let me give you a scenario. With due respect, President Muhammadu Buhari got elected in 2015. Before getting elected in 2015, in 2003 he contested. In 2007 he contested. In 2011 he contested. On these three occasions, he couldn't go beyond the northwest and northeast geopolitical zone. He got the bulk of the vote, especially from northwest, which is the most powerful voting region in Nigeria. But unfortunately, those votes, as powerful as they are, as humongous as they are, as heavy as they were, could not translate into victory. You know, if you look at it at overall general space. So by the time you are saying that you want to be president, nobody will challenge that. You have the right under democratic laws, under democratic rule to aspire, you know. But for crying out loud, democracy is the game of majority. In minority, we have their say, but majority, we always have their way. If you want to be president of Nigeria, you have to come out of your shelf and reach out to other regions, make friends, and it's a process. It's a process. Look at MKO Abiola. Before he could become president, look at all the philanthropic gesture. Even when Obasanjo came from prison that time, the consensus around him is that, okay, perhaps this person has been president of Nigeria before. We know to what extent he can galvanize support from different geopolitical zone. He has friends, he's detribalized. You know, he's a friend of the North, he's a friend of the East. So you get. So I believe that these are the type of issues that will come out, and not necessarily because it's our turn. If it's our turn, every region has right to say it's our turn. You cannot invest in GTB and collect your salary in Zenith Bank. Okay. You know, so you get. It is the party that you belong to, that will really say that, okay, well, this is your turn.
Let's look at another area where, another area where I feel we should be looking at. When you go on Twitter and you see the level of interaction, you begin to wonder, even among Nigerians, before now, I've seen Nigerians, Twitter influencers, and a host of other Nigerians who have consistently called for issue-based campaigns, issue-based elections, and all of that. But then again, when you look at their level of conversation, sometimes around certain political presidential candidates or political candidates, you begin to wonder, are we really ready for those issues-based campaigns, as we have always said? Twitter on itself, by itself, is also a strong mobilizer and all of that. But do you think at the end of the day, politicians will end up playing to the gallery? You know, more like lose focus as a result of the activities that go on Twitter.
All right, and to add to that, Nigerians believe that social media really is strong and, you know, to an extent have a lot of influence on people. Do you believe that social media can, you know, make any meaningful impact in this coming election? Or do you think that it could just be a social media jamboree?
Well, let me just be blunt and objective with you. I'm a modern person, and by virtue of that, I believe in the power of social media. Okay. But you know, politicians, for who they are, they have mastered the crafts. That most times what you get on social media might not even be reflective of what happened in the general or the larger society. We have people we call media influencer. We have a social where they will say, come and buy accounts, you know, Twitter account, Facebook account. Just one person can get up to 1,000 accounts and be using it to influence opinions. In the short run, if you are swayed by that opinion, you might want to believe that that opinion is popular. But when you get outside the shore of social media, you find out that they are not reflective of what is happening. There are 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Without being immodest, I would say that social media is popular more in maybe 30% of 3 regions out of 6. That is Southwest, Southeast, and South. I'm talking of 30% because they are urban youth, urban elites that are using them. The teeming populace in the remote area, they are not really concerned about the mood of Twitter or mood of social media. Then if you go to Northwest and Northeast, which have a very strong voting capacity, you find out that the influence of social media is not really there. And on the strength of this, you might say that, well, social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram might have some effect, but the effect is not as potent, it's not as determined, it's not as a determining effect to really affect. If it is social media, I would say that President Buhari will not return as the president for second time in Nigeria, going by the Twitter busting that time and, you know, the social media, you know, gang of years against him. You will never knew that you can gap Atiku with as much as 3 million, close to 3 million votes in the last election. But that is not to say that social media is not a tool. But we are saying that it's more potent in an advanced, enlightened, educated society, not in a growing one where, you know, majority, I wouldn't say majority, a teeming, a sizable number are not educated and they are not used to all these social media tools. Then coming to Twitter, that you said people will talk of issue-based campaign in one hand, and at another breath, they will be talking about, they will be raising some mundane, petty issues. It's just a flow from what I've said earlier, that most of these tweets, and you are seeing, they are being influenced. That's why they call them social media influencer. There's this thing we call a malady of the head, that is following the crowd effect. You see something, people have what we call malady of internal cowardice. You are afraid of what to say because the majority are not saying it. So internally you are a coward to yourself. You know this is not the right thing, but because people are saying it, you just join the bandwagon. You know, there is one writer that said far from the, you know, from the mad train, that despite the people are going this way does not necessarily mean that it is correct. So the strength of this is that most of this Twitter that we are seeing is not something that they really believe in. It's what they were asked to do. It is the bidding that they are doing, and not necessarily something of their own internal conscience. Some are paid for, some are from ethnic consideration, some are from religious consideration, some are from okay, I like his style, he's an old student of my school, whether he's qualified or not, he could go, whether he has the requisite qualification or not. Yes. It should be, because it's from my side.
You know why I would like to align with him? I see so much fight going on on social media, but in the physical society, physical world, we are friends.
That's right.
You say, okay, Hausa versus Igbo versus Yoruba and everything. They are always during the comment. If you go through the comment section, you see them fighting each other. But in reality, we are friends.
Are we really friends though?
We do business together. We intermarry every Saturday. We intermarry.
My sister, don't let us even go far. The first law of nature is survival. Whether you are Igbo, you are Hausa, you are Kanuri, you are this. Once you hold the key to my food, to my livelihood, there is no basis.
Exactly. Yes, it takes me to that reminder.
It's the politician that creates that seeming.
Okay,
you know.
So let me just take this really quickly. This is going to be the last question I will be putting to you. People talk about track records. Candidates will say, go and look at my track records, go and look at what I've done. Do you think their track records of what they've done in a state can actually justify what they would do across 36 states?
Yes. Well, I would say you only judge a person by what he has done and not what he's about to do. You know, track record, what you are talking is still the only yardstick, is the testimonial, is the certificate.